Welcome to another edition of Virtue's Brand of Wrestling. And I am sitting here on a Wednesday night, almost midnight. As you see, I got the little Japanese flag. I got the blinking light bright. I got Hollywood Hogan. I got the beaver from my high school, Riverside, the mascot. I got a Japanese bottle of green tea. I got my peeling WrestleMania 27 hat, and I got my Roman Reigns. This is my yard t-shirt. Because I want to talk about the polarizing figure known as Roman Reigns and all the shit that a specific group of fans have been giving him and WWE, especially with this ongoing feud that Reigns has had with Brock Lesnar. This dates all the way back to WrestleMania 31 in San Jose, San Francisco area. It was Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar. But that's when Seth Rollins cashed in, came out, and made it a triple threat and ended up winning the title, and the Authority was born. Before that happened, okay, Roman and Brock were having a pretty solid match. Roman was even a little bit bloody. WWE should have waited on the Rollins cash-in and had Roman win the title from Brock right there. And I don't know if, a certain group of fans that like to hijack Roman matches that, threaten to walk out if he wins, the beach ball gimmick, that this is boring, that you can't wrestle. The funny thing is the people that are chanting that are not trained wrestlers. They're fans, right, that consume a product. So if anything, if Roman is guilty about anything, he is a modern day heel. Now, how is that possible? If he's the baby face that Vince McMahon has been pushing for the last 4+ WrestleManias. Well, he's WWE's top baby face, right, according to management. But if that triggers the large majority of the fan base to be negatively vocal towards Roman, that means he's a heel. If you sit there and you scratch your head and you're like, well, what exactly do you mean? You could say, Brock Lesnar is a heel now, right? Because, he's going to go back to UFC? Yes. Is he going to leave WWE for a little bit? Probably. So I would imagine they're going to take the Universal title off of him unless Vince McMahon and Dana White have something cooking where they want Brock to show up with the Universal title. But let's face it, they've let Roman chase for so long. Everyone expected Roman to beat Brock at WrestleMania in New Orleans, right? I was there. But it didn't happen. And then the Greatest Royal Rumble, going through the cage, the technicality, it didn't happen. Now it's set up to where it has to happen. The only way that Roman can probably be protected, he can't lose clean to Brock, because then at that point, what do you do with Roman? Is Vince McMahon going to just throw Roman away after pushing him at 4 consecutive WrestleManias, which during this time, WWE stock ultimately soared to $80 a share with a huge market cap of $6 billion. Yeah, the product's shitty creatively, absolutely, but somehow they're making money, and Roman and Brock, which all the fans are shitting on, are the top build draw according to WWE. They're making money, right? Why cater to the marks? Why cater to the marks? Now, obviously, everybody knows I want their creative to be better. The shows are horrible to watch, but I'm never going to hold that 100% against the talent, saying the talent sucks because of bad creative. I've had people tell me Stone Cold and The Rock could make chicken salad out of chicken shit. They were given the creative freedom and bullet points to go out there. Russo has said that. it was the Attitude Era against competition. They were able to do what they needed to do to get their character over. Nobody in WWE today is allowed to do that. And Roman takes all the heat. Technically, if you want to get technical haters, and for the people that tell me Roman's the front guy that replaced John Cena in management's mind, which during that time ratings are down, house show attendance is down, but it's a double-edged sword because you tell me that, and I tell you, was Roman really that guy in that spot? Brock was the one making the most money, getting all nothing but big matches. So is it Brock's fault? It's neither one of their faults. Because during that time, during a crappy product of creative, WWE's making a lot of money. Are they spending a lot of money to make a lot of money? Yeah, but if their stock is that high and they're a publicly traded company and they're worth more than they've ever been, something kind of is going right. But the double-edged sword with Roman is people want to make excuses that he's the guy that's responsible for lower TV ratings, house show attendance is down. It's not Roman. It's the era. It's the era. I probably sound like a broken record here on the Big Vito brand, right? This is Wrestling with Virtue, so it's my opinion, my take. But it's the social media / YouTube / internet era. Because if TV ratings are down, and they could be higher, well, they're still making money from USA and Fox. Okay? Could they be making more if ratings were higher? Perhaps. Could they be making more from house shows if attendance was higher? Perhaps. But somehow the marketing in WWE has showed all their Twitter followers, all their Facebook likes, all their YouTube subscribers, and it's saying, hey, our audience is bigger than what TV in our arena events are showing. Here's how. And that's how they were probably able to pitch their product to USA to extend it, to the Fox network, to Saudi Arabia. And I think they have a stadium event soon coming up in Australia. And they still sell out Madison Square Garden. But it's a different era. It's the social media era. People consume product in a different way. People like to save money, right? Because they're spending so much money on their phones, so much money on their internet at home every month. They don't always go to a wrestling show in person or watch TV and cable. They're like, wow, well, we can go catch it on YouTube. We can see highlights and memes and pics on Twitter and Facebook. We can go on the WWE network. It'll be, we pay $9.99 for that because that's a lot cheaper than cable. Look at NFL ratings, down. Look at your top sitcoms. They're not what they used to be. People don't watch TV the way they used to. So these TV networks are looking at these shrunken ratings from a decade ago, from 15 or 20 years ago, and then they're saying, okay, well, these ratings are down, so how do we appeal to our advertisers? Well, somehow they tell their advertisers, well, these are pretty good ratings by today's standard, and if you advertise on this product, WWE, they might only be showing 2 million people for SmackDown and barely 3 million for Raw, but they have YouTube and social media, and your product's going to get flushed into that circuit too, where more people are seeing your ads, right? That's somebody that works in the advertising. That's who I want to interview. Somebody that's a marketer in advertising that works with WWE. They can tell us, obviously they can't probably talk too much, but if they could just tell us, well, yeah, we don't just sell advertising anymore to the networks and to WWE just for television because it is a smaller audience, or for our things to be on banners at the arenas where they're not selling them out like they used to, but our product placement is showing up on their Twitter feeds or in the YouTube ads. And it's all and they're all working together. That it's a different game. If you totally think that Romans and WWE have failed and they're going to go out of business in 5 years, like some of you people have said, and it's Roman's responsibility to carry the Cena torch, the Rock and Austin torch, but he's not. and he basically doused it in water, and it's Roman's fault that all these numbers are down, then explain the stock price, explain the market cap, explain the fact that Vince McMahon can throw away money into an XFL 2.0. Something is working, and I've said this time and time again, and I'm getting sick of battling people on Twitter, and I'm not going to just sit there and give you the specifics of an argument. I've had people unfollow me on Twitter because I don't give them the specifics of an argument. I just troll them back because I want them to come to the Big Vito brand and watch Virtue's Brand of Wrestling, or go to my other websites and watch me there. I don't make any money on Twitter. I would rather have you see me because you might see my T-shirts I sell, or, so whatever it is, my video game page, you might end up following me more out of it. That's how you do it, right? What is it? What am I on? The internet. You see me on YouTube, Twitter. That's where everybody's at. Go next time you're out in public, walk down the road, or go to an amusement park or the mall. Look at everybody from 10-year-olds to 60-year-olds. 80% of people are flipping through a phone as they're walking, sitting on a bench, as they're shopping. People are on their handheld devices constantly, and that's the way a lot of products today, such as wrestling, is consumed. And because they're making so much money, and the fact that they're doing so well, considering old school numbers are down, they continue to be how they are, because what do they need to shake anything up for? Why do they need to give fans the best, biggest storylines like they used to in the Attitude Era? There's no competition. So they're just saving any ideas for the vault. Now, is it screwing some of the talent over because it's great storylines could be passing them by? Because WWE might say we're never going to do anything like that again for shock value unless we absolutely have to. We're just going to kind of be flatlined and status quo because we're going to save our good ideas, because our good ideas are worth more money or bailing us out when we're in trouble. So we're not going to give the consumer those good ideas yet because we don't need to, because we're doing well. I'm sure that's been discussed. Once in a while, we get something cool or like that because you have to. But at the rate that they used to in the Attitude Era, they don't do it. Why did they do it back then? Because WCW was kicking their ass. ECW was an indie underground promotion kind of rising up. WWE all of a sudden was the second most popular, and with a little indie promotion of ECW hot on their trail too, of being WWE could have slipped to the third most relevant wrestling promotion back then. But they did what they needed to do because the time warranted it. In this era, it's completely different. No one superstar, with Brock as the exception maybe, is bigger than the WWE. And even then, I don't think, with Brock being bigger than the WWE, it's clear, right? Because he works limited dates. He makes the most money. He's always in the big main events, but he has an appeal. He's done stuff successfully outside the WWE, UFC. He was a former heavyweight champion. So they obviously do treat, even though Brock was from the wrestling business, they do treat Brock a little bit differently. That's why he's a special attraction. So you could argue Brock is bigger than the WWE, but look at Roman, look at Strowman, look at AJ, look at Owens, look at Rollins. Nobody's as big as Austin and The Rock. It's not their faults. We will never truly know if any of these guys or girls will ever be as big as the booming era 15, 20 years ago, because the model of WWE's product today is not allowing them to have the chance. So people that go out and say Roman sucks and can't run, do you really know what a work? Watch Roman Reigns. He busted. Some people say he gets blown up 3 minutes into his match. No, his character is he gets beat up and he takes hard hits so he can come back like a superhero and do his superhero stuff, right? And in the big matches against Strowman and Lesnar, he takes most of the punishment until the end. Now, he's been losing to Lesnar, but go back to 2017. Go watch all of the Braun Strowman and Roman Reigns feud. That was an awesome feud. A lot of people said, oh, the Usos versus the New Day was the best feud that year. I believe it was Kofi. I believe it was Roman and Strowman that last year in 2017, best feud of the year. And you know what? We're getting close to it again, because if Brock does the job and puts the title on Roman, or even if Strowman cashes in and makes it a triple threat like Rollins did at Mania 31, Strowman's going to become the champ, and Reigns is going to chase, or Reigns will become the champ and Strowman has the briefcase. We could very well get Strowman versus Roman 2.0. I highly doubt they're ever going to turn Roman heel. Roman heel would be, they would need a wrestling company like WCW back in the day. Then the Roman heel thing's a possibility. So Strowman, I could see Strowman turn heel. But again, it might always be shades of gray with WWE, because if nobody's, other than the kids and the women and the few people like me, support Roman, no matter who's against them, they're going to cheer. So could you even make Braun a heel? But just the people that just think that Roman can't work, that he can't wrestle, his promos are suspect. Well, when they give him the shit lines to deliver, like tater tots and suffer and succotash, do you think Rock and Austin could make those lines great? They would have never allowed it to happen because it was a different era. So, we can always, and I am going to do a state of the Roman Empire, and I'm going to dissect this bad boy even deeper after SummerSlam, because then we're going to see where WWE decided to go. Is Brock still going to be the Universal Champ? Will it finally be on Roman, or will Strowman have already cashed in? Or will Owens sneak back in? Which, come on, we know what Vince likes: Brock, Reigns, Goldberg. We know what the Indy and the Triple H guys like: Rollins, Owens, and that's pro wrestling today. Call me a Roman mark, right, for getting a shirt. I just find it the hate that Roman gets, it's fascinating. And I obviously chose the side where the lesser side, right? Because I like fighting battles. I like telling people, you're not watching Roman good enough. You're so mad at the creative product that WWE has given you. You're blaming the talent, saying they're not delivering and this and that. But like I said, blame the talent all you want. Blame the shitty creative, which I'm guilty of doing, and that's fine. I will stick to those guns. And whether they're spending extra money, WWE is still financially successful, probably more so than they ever were. What was their spend and their bottom line profit in the Attitude Era? Obviously they didn't spend as much money back then, and they probably had some good profit because they did sell a lot of merchandise. Heck, I remember going to Monday Night Raw in 1998 in Cleveland, and the upper deck was sold out. But what was big in that era? You had multiple main eventers that got good storylines, or, and if some people say the storylines sucked, at least shock storylines, right? And that formula worked. Today, they're only giving you one or two main eventers with bland storylines. It's Roman's fault. Roman's fault. Speaking of that, Cena, right? Cena passed the torch to Roman. Undertaker passed the torch to Roman. He's headlined 4 consecutive WrestleManias. I've said it time and time again. If he was a bust, he wouldn't have got past Mania 31 or 32. We wouldn't have seen him against Undertaker in the main at 33. We wouldn't have seen him against Brock at 34. But he's WWE in their office, in their board meetings. They are seeing something that the true haters are not seeing or recognizing, and that somehow their product is making them money, as shitty as it is. That's why it's probably so stagnant, because they are making money. There's no need to change. There's no need to make it shock or in awe and like it used to be, because they're making money. And that could be that could be a cardinal sin. The WWE is doing too good for itself, and that's why creative and their product looks crappy, because they're just all about, well, let's just keep the kids happy and their parents. We'll sell the toys. We'll sell the T-shirts. They'll come to the house shows. Our ratings are flatlined, right? Because if they were going to go any lower, they would have already went, and we'll, sure, we get the wild crowds and we'll have to tame them down here and there. But it doesn't matter because we're still making enough money. We have the network income now. We're global. We're in more countries than we've ever been. It's a different time. And I know people like Vince and Vito have said, oh, you can't keep always using the different time motto. And you're right. Creatively, you can't. You can still do what you did back then creatively today and draw in more fans. But I think WWE is content with just keeping their niche fan base and then expanding that niche fan base across the world instead of just domestically here in the United States. So they're kind of giving up the casuals for just all wrestling fans globally. Because back then they were globally in the Attitude Era, but it was still more concentrated domestically, especially Canada and US. So they obviously wanted to sell every seat in the arena, have everybody sell merchandise, but because they didn't have the mass appeal worldwide in almost every country. But with the network, with YouTube, with social media, they are in almost every major country now. And they're fine, and they're getting money, advertising, right? Network subscriptions. People in India buying merch. Yeah, right? People in India aren't going to house shows in the United States, but they're buying merch in India. People in Japan are buying merch. People in France are buying merch. England, Mexico, Canada, all over the world. That's why the market cap has got to where it is. Every day, or at least every other day, I Google WWE stock. And you know what I see when I see it? I see the price hovering around 80. And I also see this logo. Not really there on the computer or phone screen, but in my mind, I see this, and I see Brock, right? Because those are the main eventers. That's what's going to headline SummerSlam during an era where people crap on WWE creative, but yet they're making money. So how can you argue a big corporation that's successful in their own eyes? You can't. You just got to, maybe stop watching or watch and just deal with what they give you. And then every now, and here's the thing. I enjoy so much liking what these smarks don't like that it's become great to me just to see Roman do his normal stuff, which is like, me 5 years ago would have been like, oh, that's not Chris Jericho. It's so much fun now because I know it's making so many other people angry. And I've gotten called out on that, saying I only like Roman because I just like to have the different voice against everybody else. Well, I've said from day one, I always liked the heels. When I started watching wrestling in 1987, Andre the Giant over Hulk, I wanted him to crush Hulk Hogan and Hulkamania. I always loved the heels. Just because Roman's pushes a babyface, to me, he's my heel. So I've never changed. I've always liked the wrestlers that most other people around me don't. Because that's how I'm entertained, arguing against them till the bitter end. But that's it. We're going to try to get back on schedule in a few days because I want to start recording these Sunday night and sending them to Noelle so she has them for Monday so we can get these up before Raw comes on. So I've been a very busy guy with a divorce, which everything went well, by the way, with doing my shoot job, with all my other sites, with going to Florida vacation that I've kind of gotten off track, but we will get back on track. So I am Virtue for the Big Vito brand, bigvito.com. This is Virtue's brand of wrestling. We will see you again soon. Hey, it's Virtue here from bigvito.com and the Big Vito brand. And I wanted to let everybody know, in case you already didn't, go to prowrestlingtees.com and search Big Vito because you will see a spread of t-shirts that are must-owned. And you know what? Here is one as an example. So I hope Noelle puts this on the end of some of my videos because it really makes me look like a big deal that I'm doing commercials for Big Vito's t-shirts on prowrestlingtees.com. But seriously, folks, you want to represent the Pavarotti of hard shots to the body? Seriously, no joke. You want to get color with the Big Vito and the Big Vito brand? Head on over to PWT, everybody knows it as ProWrestlingTees.com, and search Big Vito, and you will be able to choose your size. And you know what? I believe once in a while they run promotions and sales, so you always want to look out for that. But anyway, I am Virtue from BigVito.com and the Big Vito brand. Thank you for listening to me.